Well, we found Easibirthing after we came back from Australia, and I'd heard great things about using hypnosis for birth, and then we chose to have a look around, and Sharon stood out with such a great looking course, so we came along and just learnt all about hypnosis. Well, the reason I looked at hypnosis for birth was actually because I had incredibly strong fears about birth. I'd had some surgery on my hip, and for some reason I thought, oh, it's going to make a huge difference, and I wanted a tool to be able to help my mind calm down and to deal with anxiety really and build my confidence. So it was an incredibly powerful tool to do that. Actually, I think the most important thing that I ever got out of this was actually a technique that she would call anchoring, which really helped me in the moment be able to come back to this place of calm, confidence and in control. And I've actually used it for, well, Beau is 6 now, for a number of years in different ways. And yeah, it spurred me on to actually start working in birth afterwards. And I work as a birth doula now and have probably used that sentence a few times in lots of different scenarios. So yeah, I felt very in control during both of my birth experiences using hypnosis tools. A great scenario with Beau was that the midwife that I really, really loved she was off duty, wasn't she? And so she wasn't going to be available until the whole next day. And with this tool, I basically managed to kind of switch the labour off and said, this will be the slowest, calmest, most comfortable labour ever. And he won't come until she's available to be on duty. And that happened, didn't it? My active labour, like when labour really started going with Beau, was probably only about, I think it was four hours, but I had a really lovely slow build up, and that's where the hypnosis was wonderful. So we had a whole day in bed with Sharon's tapes on, and just hearing the music, and every time like a wave or a surge would come, we just use some of the techniques, and then we just carry on chatting again. So we had that for a whole day. So it was a really slow build up. And then when the labour started, I was still so chilled. I didn't realise how far it had gone. So I was drawing, I was watching my favourite TV show, bouncing on the ball, and then it was just a matter of hours later. And this little one, he was super quick. He only gave me like, I was listening to the hypnosis tape for about an hour, and it was about an hour, wasn't it? And he was so fast that I didn't even get to my nice warm pool downstairs. So you were born in the bed, but very calmly. Well, actually, it was the most perfect tool to use for pain relief for me, because I think a lot of my anxiety was probably in the beginning was more mental, was about how do I cope with the power of the feelings of birth. Well, actually, both births, the only pain relief that I ever used was just using these hypnosis techniques just to stay calm. And just using my body really, using the sensations, movement, sound. But generally, I was working with visualizations. It really helped us. The way that impacted on us postnatally was that it just set up a very calm atmosphere to begin with. I mean, coming out of birth, which is a very intense new experience, and then starting on a job of looking after a baby, and you don't know what you're doing, and you're learning all the time, it really, really helped, I think, set a foundation for coping, actually. Coping with what is, coping with what comes. And I mean, second time round, like I say, after working in birth subsequently for the last 6 years, again, it just helped things be really peaceful. In more ways than that, my birth experiences have been the most powerful experiences of my life. Quite genuinely, I always had that fear that I couldn't do it, that my body was somehow broken, actually, and it was Beau's birth that made me really think, oh my gosh, it's so much more powerful than I realised. and it changed my life, because then my career changed, everything changed. So for me, it was a huge impact. Yeah. I've recommended Sharon's course to a lot of friends, to a lot of clients that I've worked with as well, because I think the way she presents it is very comprehensive. I think it's fun. She creates a great atmosphere, and yeah, like I say, I've always ended up using the tools ever since. So yeah, definitely recommend her.
You listened to the tapes when we first come to one of Sharon's sessions. After we used tapes like nightly, so Jules could get into the habit of doing it. But for me, I used to get the deepest sleep ever. Just like side effect was like, I got great sleep. And every time I hear Sharon's voice, I kind of start going into this kind of state.
That's true. I remember really interestingly. I felt really moved I felt moved to make posters with Sharon's work, and so all the things that I learned originally, I turned them into visual symbols for myself, and I made little posters to put on the wall in the birthing space, which is my mum's living room, and I remember the midwife said to me that at a moment when the birth became hard and I suddenly lost my rhythm for a moment, she could look at the wall and look at the what I'd written about, I don't know, my favourite colour, or what I was thinking about, or which tool was working for me, and she could just suddenly remind me. And she said, as a midwife, it was amazing, because she said I suddenly went very deeply into this zone space. So she said it was helpful from her point of view.
I was absolutely petrified of giving birth, absolutely petrified. It took us 6.5 years to fall pregnant with this one. And I think mindset was because I was so scared of giving birth, the reason why I didn't fall pregnant. So I needed to try and find something to calm me down and relax me. And I came across this one. I think because I'm quite a headstrong person, I just knew that something like this would work to make me a lot calmer and just stay in control of everything. So during the childbirth, I felt really in control. My labour was about 2 hours. It was quite hard to actually decide when it started because I wasn't in pain. It wasn't until my waters broke. So I missed my first stage, and my waters broke, and I was 8 to 10 centimetres dilated already. And then with that, he was born about 1 hour and 40 minutes later. My experience of childbirth was really relaxed. I was definitely in control and very calm. Towards the end, it did get a little bit out of control. It's just due to I was pushing on my own. I didn't have a midwife with me, and I just got a little bit scared. But I think I would have been a lot more scared if I hadn't have done the hypnobirthing. I didn't actually have any pain relief at all. I just did it all naturally. I did want a water birth, but one wasn't available at the time. And I was still calm, even though I didn't have my actual birthing plan. I was still calm. And everything came so quickly, there was no time for any pain relief. And I just didn't need any. So with the training that Sharon gave me, it was just after Norman was born. It just made me a lot calmer with him. We're both really happy and content. I'd highly recommend Sharon to do anyone that's pregnant to have the hypnobirthing. It's made us so more content and happy. I had a happy and relaxed pregnancy, and it was just a joyful experience.
I think it just makes everything more calm and relaxed while Andrew was giving birth.
Well, I first heard about Sharon's Easibirthing course through a flyer that I received as part of my antenatal paperwork. My main motivation for going was to try and improve my perception of childbirth. I was quite fearful of childbirth and delivery before, and when I thought about having a baby, I was very happy to be pregnant, and I was very happy looking at the future with the baby. What scared me about it was labour, and I hoped that by attending the classes that might change my perception and I'd be less fearful of the process. I think as many times as you tell yourself that hundreds of women do it every day and go back and do it a second and third time, I was still quite apprehensive about what it was going to involve and whether I was up for it. Attending the classes helped in 3 ways. I think it absolutely changed my perception of how childbirth can be, I realised that childbirth could be a very positive experience, and by changing by attending the classes and hearing that and hearing about other women's experiences, that changed my outlook going into labour and delivery and took away a lot of the fear and made me think this can be a very positive experience. I think it gave me the tools to manage the discomfort and manage the process. And then most of all, I think it really equipped my husband to support me. So he was without a doubt integral to the childbirth. The midwife had very little to do from supporting me because my husband was doing it all. So she was just there really to do the medical side. I felt very in control. I felt very relaxed, and it was definitely a positive experience. And it was also a very joyful experience. It felt a very special, intimate experience, I think, for me and my husband as we welcomed our son into the world. So yes, it was a very positive experience. We were talking about number 2 that evening. I think labour truly kicked off about 2 a.m. I didn't need to wake my husband till 7, and we went into the hospital shortly before 1 o'clock that afternoon, and Matt was born at 6, so all quite straightforward. I think we were delighted when we went to the hospital and found that we were close to 7 centimetres dilated. So as soon as I knew that, I was confident we could see it through without any problem. I think the tools that Sharon gave us enabled me, with the help of my husband, to stay very, very relaxed. So in fact, my heartbeat and my son's heartbeat stayed very relaxed throughout the labour. Because I think I was using these tools, and because I stayed relaxed, I was able to deal with the discomfort very easily. I had a water birth, which I found extremely positive, and that definitely provided comfort. And I used some gas and air, but that was all from a pain relief perspective. Well, I think because the childbirth itself had been so positive, we didn't necessarily need a lot of help with the adjustment. There was nothing to recover from the experience, really, and it was such a joyful thing to welcome our son that I think we spent the first few weeks just in a little bit of haze of happiness. I have used Sharon's techniques for some other situations. I think the relaxation techniques can be used as well in other situations. I would definitely recommend the course to others, and I have already. I think it was very good at providing us with the tools to use during labour to make it a positive experience. I think it was fundamental that it changed my preconceived ideas about how labour could be, what labour could be, so that it turned in my mind from being a negative experience to something that could be very positive and very joyful, and that was extremely important. And I think the camaraderie that we gained from meeting other parents on the course, we made friends through the course, and I think particularly important was the chance for Dave to chat with other dads, to meet other dads, and to look at it from the father's perspective, because I think naturally with these things a lot of the focus is on the mum and the child, and there's the potential that dads can be a little bit neglected. And I think Dave found it very helpful to meet other men in the same position and to feel really empowered to be an integral part of the delivery process, which he was, definitely. And I think that made it a very special experience for the two of us in our relationship, and then obviously with our son as well. Yeah, I think Sharon has a wonderful ability to put people at ease. We felt very relaxed during the classes to be ourselves, and really benefited from the way she was able to teach us and relate to us all as individuals as well as a group. So that she was able to deal with our anxieties, our sort of personal anxieties, as well as the more general group anxieties. So it was a very relaxed, fun class to be a part of, and I think Sharon has a wonderful ability to make people feel comfortable and at ease and bring out the best of you in those classes. So I would recommend Sharon unequivocally. We did the Easibirthing classes well in advance of Matthew's arrival, so I actually saw Sharon for a one-on-one session closer to the time as well, and I found that very beneficial as well, that we were able to talk in a bit more detail about some of my own personal anxieties about the delivery, and it was helpful to have that one-on-one attention as well as be reminded of what I'd learned during the classes as a group.
Originally we came across Sharon because my first daughter, she was breech birth, which we didn't actually realise until 3 days before she was due. So my birthing plan literally just went right out the window, and I felt I'd lost all control. So I thought the next time round I had to go through that natural delivery. I needed the control. I felt robbed of a natural birth the first time. So I wanted to do everything I could to make sure I got that natural birth. I'd actually previously met Sharon before for some other therapy and found her very good. So I just wanted the birthing process to be relaxing. I wanted Pete to be involved in the birthing process. And I'm aware that if you're not relaxed during the birthing process, that can hinder the physical side of things. So as long as I was relaxed, I should be able to follow my birthing plan. That was my plan. It was also nice to spend some time with Pete and obviously baby inside, just the three of us, without the hustle and bustle of life and other little kids around. Well, we were kind of in the process of labour for about 3 days, wasn't it? On and off, which it was becoming quite tiring. And there was a possibility that medical intervention may have also come into play. So I was beginning to panic a little bit, thinking I'm going to be robbed again of this natural birth. But having Sharon's techniques really tried to focus me, and actually in the end I had my birthing plan. I was able to use a birthing pool, minimal drugs, so it just worked really well. I was in labour for a total of 3 days, on and off. We were kind of having visits into hospital, then back out again. Contractions would stop and then start, so it was a long old process, very tiring. I've used a couple of Sharon's techniques, even now, sort of during stressful situations, even at work. I tend to revert back to some of the relaxing techniques and visualising techniques, and so yeah, it's definitely helped me in the long run as well. I would most definitely recommend it. It was time for Peter and I to spend together with the future baby. It was time for us to relax and enjoy the labour, funnily enough. And it was time for Peter as well to feel part of the birth and not just a spectator. The fact I got my natural birth. Well, I got what I wanted, and relatively normal and relatively drug-free. I'm so proud of myself for achieving it through Sharon's tremendous work.
I was a little sceptical of the whole principles to start with, but actually when we got into it, I found that Sam was very much more relaxed and aware of what will be happening during the birthing process. And to be honest, anything that makes your wife feel comfortable and relaxed when it comes to giving birth is a good move. And I think we both went in with a better knowledge of exactly what will be happening during the birthing process and some techniques to relax each other, and some ways that I could help Sam and help her feel comfortable, really, and just focus her mind on what she needed to be focusing on, because that's so very important during the birthing process, is just to be focused on what you need to be focused on and not distracted by other things around you.
We found work quite well because we were able to feed off other people and share each other's experiences as well, birthing wise and first children, and yeah, so it was good. Yeah,
it was nice to see. I mean, each couple that came along to the sessions had a slightly different reason for coming and a slightly different story. Yeah.
Yes, well, some had her hideous first birth, some don't have very high pain threshold, a bit like myself. So it was just really interesting to hear everybody's stories, and it made ours valid as well. So yeah.
well, we had some very good friends there who just happened to be on the same course as us. And I guess you could say that the wife's a little bit of a hippie. So she kind of embraced it from that point of view. And but yeah, they found it very useful as well, didn't they?
I think we found useful the how the process works during the labour, how the body responds to labour, because we didn't realise what you go through mentally, physically, the hormones that are involved, and how relaxation if you're not relaxed, it can actually inhibit the labour process. So making sure you're relaxed makes everything flow a lot better. We didn't realise that, did we?
No. I mean, this was our second child, so the first child, we'd gone to all the sort of classes that the NHS put on, and there were quite a few aspects of what Sharon taught us that were not covered at all by what we got from the sort of like the off-the-shelf package that you get from the NHS. So that was really useful, I thought.
And you had time to ask questions. It was not rushed, and that helped as well.
I spoke to my midwife when I found out I was pregnant about the situation, and she recommended Sharon and spoke to me about Easibirthing, and it was something that I think that I would like to get involved with. So I researched it a little bit more and then joined the course. Well, I just wanted to understand a lot more about childbirth, really, and also just to be able to be confident with the situation and understand everything thoroughly, to be able to have a successful labour. That it's the most natural thing in the world and that your body knows exactly what to do, and just believe in it and go with it, and the fact that if you're confident and you really do truly believe it, then it works. The whole time I was in control, I was focused, I was doing what I was meant to do, and it just went with the flow and it worked. So I was very calm, very confident. The first part of labour was very quick. I didn't even know that I was in labour. I was carrying about my normal day. I went shopping, carried on as normal, and then I'd say roughly about 5 hours, with the last part of labour being about 40 minutes. It was very, very quick. Yeah, so I was very pleased with that. The whole childbirth experience was fantastic. It was amazing. It was just an enjoyable experience, if you can say that with childbirth. Obviously it was hard work, but it was very calm, very it just worked. I kept getting asked for it, but I was so focused, and I wanted to do the job, and I was in my zone, if you like, that I didn't have any pain relief at all. So in both my childbirth. The Easibirthing also helped me after the childbirth, because it made me a more confident mother. Breastfeeding just came very naturally to me, and continues. I've had no problems with it at all. And I'd say I'm calm as well. I'm very calm, and that has come through with my children as well. I was very frightened of childbirth, and like I said, hospitals, I hated hospitals because I'd always had bad experiences with hospitals. So I couldn't actually imagine having a good experience in a hospital. So that's why I came to see Sharon, and yes, everything, my mind was put at rest, and I practiced the CDs religiously and they were brilliant just for me to be calm and have my time out, if you like, at home to rest and things as well, and get ready and to focus, and yeah, so it worked for me. Well, I have already recommended several people that have gone on to see Sharon and had great experiences. I would definitely recommend it for anyone that has any worries about childbirth or anxiety. It completely changes the experience and into a positive, amazing time. So I would definitely recommend it to anyone that would consider seeing Sharon, definitely. I would just say that, you know, childbirth is the most natural thing in the world, and that, you know, to be able to go on this course and really learn how the body works, how it all comes together and why, really, really helps understand it, and the fact that your body knows exactly what to do when it comes to the crunch as such. So you've just got to enjoy it and sit back and let it flow. And with regards to anyone that goes on the course, I would definitely say practice makes perfect. I constantly listen to the CDs, so I would say just practice, 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 and it will just come naturally when your time comes.
Tell us a little bit about how you came across Sharon and Easibirthing.
We heard about an NHS course, which was one taster session, and we decided to go along as we were beginning to get quite late in the pregnancy and a bit nervous about what was going to happen. And we were quite sceptical about it at the beginning, but as the course progressed, as the session progressed, we started to feel much more sure that this was going to be something that would help us.
Okay, and what's the, or what were you hoping to get from the hypnosis?
I was quite anxious about the birth, but I'd been in denial for about 7 months about the fact that I'd actually have to give birth. And then I think by around the 7th month, I realised that there was probably no other way out. And I just wanted to feel more in control of the whole process.
Yeah, I was much more comfortable afterwards that Ellie particularly would feel more in control, particularly as we were aiming for a home birth as well. So, and being the first baby, we were a bit nervous about that. Yeah.
What was the most important thing that you took away from your sessions? Did you do the group sessions? Did you have any one-to-ones, or was it just the group sessions?
I think it was all one-to-ones, wasn't it? We did the first group session, but then because it was quite late in the day that I started, I then opted to do the one-to-one session, so just Ben and me and Sharon, and we found that really, really helpful. And I think that was when it was really starting to make a difference.
Okay, good. Well, and then, so what was the most important thing that you feel that you took away from the sessions?
Ability to deal with the stresses of the birth in a relaxed way and with very little very little stress, really, particularly for me, obviously. But it was really good for me to know how to get Ellie out of any potentially sticky situations or scary situations. So, yeah.
And Ellie, how in control during childbirth did you feel?
Very. It was not what I'd originally anticipated at all. I felt pretty much in control for the whole process. And I'm quite an anxious person by nature, so that was a remarkable thing for me to have experienced that. And I'm quite fearful of hospitals and medical interventions and things like that, which is one of the things that had been fueling it. So for me to be like that through the entire process was really quite something. And actually, generally, it felt like we were just having a normal day. It was just something unusual was happening, but it felt like I was having a normal day. And in the way that you feel in charge and confident about, normal things that you go about doing.
And how long was your labour in total?
2.5 days. So I had plenty of time to think about it. There was plenty of opportunities for that to have become quite overwhelming. But I had a stop-start labour, and I think I had one occasion where I was sort of like, I can't do this, I've got to go to hospital. Not really because of pain, but just because my labour had stopped again. But I don't know, I've heard that's the nature of first births. Quite often can be like that. And apart from that, we just had a nice time, really. We had a doula that we really got on with. It was just Ben and me and the cat, and we just, I had contractions. We just kind of got on with that. I ate pizza. Had a nice time with.
That's a big selling point.
Yeah, I didn't expect to be eating pizza.
The next question was going to be, how would you describe your childbirth experience? But you've already touched on it, and even added the pizza in. So I mean, that's golden. How did So how did hypnosis help with your preventing your need for pain relief and intervention?
Didn't have any.
Yeah, I didn't have any at all. I'm presuming it's because I wasn't in a sort of fear state. I understood that fear would really contribute to the pain, and I really didn't feel at any point that I needed help with that. I could pretty much, I was just standing quite still every time I had a contraction, and it was just like I just focused a bit through it, and that was all. It was never unbearable. I felt, because I felt okay through the whole thing, I could always tell that if I lost that confidence or if I started to panic, I could understand how it could get harder. But actually, because of how I was feeling, I never lost that grip. So, yeah, it was fine.
Great. And how did your training help with adjustment after your baby was born?
I had quite a challenging postnatal period. So it's hard to say. I mean, we had a lot of difficulties with breastfeeding, and I had some problems as well afterwards. But I think I knew that I had a tool, because I've actually had some help from Sharon since then with issues that have come up. And I've got so much confidence in her because of the birth. I mean, you can't be more confident than seeing a method being tested like that under those circumstances. So I think it's been more knowing that I've got a resource in Sharon now. But it's hard for me to tell what the postnatal period would have been like otherwise. So having had such a good birth was, that was a really positive start for me.
That's a great testimony. So following your experience, would you recommend the course, and what would you say to moms and dads to be who are considering using Easibirthing?
It's it did help us so much, all of us, through the whole process, that I would definitely recommend it to anyone who's thinking about it or considering it. And I can't really think of a more relaxed method for getting through it, really. And it was great for me as well, because I knew it was helping, and it was something I could also help with. So yeah, I'd recommend it highly to anybody.
Well, yeah, and you pretty much made our doula redundant. I mean, by the end, we've got a photo of, it was when she was just actually crowning and coming out. And there's Ben, who's mainly helping, and the doula, and the midwife's actually just leaning on her hands on the side of the pool.
Wow.
And considering I wanted a low intervention birth, she didn't do anything with me at all. She arrived and said I could go in the pool, and she just watched. And at one point we had the doula and the midwife were just in our front room, and we were in the kitchen, and this was really close to the end. Like, I was, probably about 15 minutes away from actually giving birth. But they were so sure that we were fine and we were managing it. So that was quite something. Because I thought, like, first birth, I thought they'd be, poking and prodding everywhere.
I think the combination of the hypnosis and home birth was ideal, really, for us, because we wanted it to be as relaxed and to have Isla in the home atmosphere, just as if it was a normal thing. It's a normal thing, but yes, it wasn't stressful.
Great. And so tell us a little bit, how did you find working with Sharon on a one-to-one basis? Because a lot of the people we've spoken to have only done the group, and you're the first people that have only done the one-to-ones.
Right.
So how was it working with her, with Sharon particularly?
Sharon just gave us so much confidence. I mean, she was a complete inspiration, really, at the time. I think when you're nervous about your birth, that she had exactly the right approach for us at the time.
I think she's very sensitive to individuals' needs, and we never felt like she was pushing us in any way, or it just all felt very flowing and natural. and yeah, she's a laugh as well. So yeah, it was good.
Great. Isla, would you like to add anything?
No.
Is there anything else that you wanted to say about the course or about Easibirthing or Sharon in particular? Or?
I think actually at the point when the midwives came and they took my blood pressure and my pulse and her pulse as well, the thing that really stuck with me was that my blood pressure I think it was about 140/70, which apparently is normally it's quite high at the point when you're actually giving birth, and mine was kind of in the lower levels. I think it might have been lower than that, I can't remember anyway, but the midwife went, oh, that's really low, and my pulse was about 70, and hers was as well. Like, it seemed like it was feeding through to her as well, that I was calmer. So, you know, and like I said, because I'm quite an anxious person, and then to have that blood pressure and pulse at the point when I'm about to do something I've really never done before, which is give birth, and that was amazing. And the fact that I knew it was helping her as well. And when she came out, she had her cord around her neck, and I think, again, the fact that everything was just calm and she was born really slowly, and, you know, we had plenty of time to see that is what was happened, and I think that helped as well. Like, because we righted her before she came out of the water. So I could really see how taking that approach was actually really beneficial for the safety of everybody as well, like, just because everybody's calmer. It just seemed to it helped everybody.
Fantastic. Ben, did you want to add anything?
Not really. If you're thinking of doing the course, then do it. That's all, really.
Everyone seems to have gotten a lot out of taking the course.
Yeah.
Really, whatever skepticisms they might have had beforehand were definitely put aside after doing it. So it's fantastic.
I mean, very quickly as well. I mean, it was, you know, anyone who is who feels that hypnosis is, you know, black art of some sort, then it's very, very quickly just dispelled, and it's obvious that it's quite a gentle thing. It's, and not intrusive in any way, to probe your innermost thoughts or anything. It's just it's literally being used as a tool to help. So it's,
And also it came in handy actually when I went into hospital before the birth, because we had a car accident, unfortunately, at 38 weeks, and I had to go in for a bleed beforehand too. And as I was so much trying to avoid going into hospital, it was quite a challenge, and certainly with the car accident, because they thought I might be going into labour then. And we were using some of the techniques that Sharon had taught us for the birth while we were in hospital, and it really helped. So even sort of slightly out of context leading up to it, it was a really useful tool.
We met Sharon a while before we came to do Easibirthing. I was quite poorly with pregnancy with Harry, and so I did some work with Sharon before, and we found out we went on the NHS day, which was great, and we thought we want to do more of this. We like relaxation and things anyway. We've practiced lots of relaxation in the past, and we did the Easibirthing course, didn't we? And it was brilliant. Just fantastic. I think what I wanted to get out of it was a confidence, and I think I wanted us to be both involved in it together, and it was something we could do together. And I think I wanted to have the confidence that my body knew what it would do. The birthing process was a natural one, and that it would know what it was going to do. So I think, that's what we wanted to get out of it. That's what I wanted to get out of it. The most important thing I took away from the sessions were the breathing techniques, definitely. Learning how to calm myself and really relax and listen to my body and know what it was telling me, I think. And it was about listening as well, I suppose, listening to myself, listening to my body, listening to Rich helping me, reminding me that I could do what I needed to do, so to produce this lovely boy. I felt really controlled actually. I had quite a short labour from start to finish, and right from the beginning, I did use TENS machine as well, but right from the beginning I was using the breathing techniques, the relaxation skills, and remembering what I'd learned from Sharon, really working together and just sort of getting to the end of it really, which was very quick. So yeah, it's good. The labour was 4.5 hours from start to finish, from the first contraction right the way through to the end. And I don't think the midwives quite believed that when my husband running out the room going, she's going to give birth, they didn't quite believe it because they hadn't checked me or anything. So yeah, for a first time mum, they said that was quite quick. It was really positive. I had a really difficult pregnancy, and I thought, you know, with the relaxation and things like that, I wanted to have a really positive birth experience. I think if I hadn't had a positive birth experience, I definitely wouldn't be having another one now. And I believe that the Easibirthing course completely and utterly gave me that confidence to go on and have a second one. It was perfect really, wasn't it? I couldn't have asked for anything better. I don't know, apart from you holding me up on the end of the bed going, come on, stand up.
Yeah, don't sit on the baby.
Don't sit on the baby's head. But no, it was really positive, and yeah, you know, people tell you horrible stories, but it wasn't like that at all, for me anyway. Well, I think because you know that the breathing is helping you get to an end point, and the relaxation is calming all your muscles and helping your body go towards giving birth. I think I did use some TENS machine, and I did have a little bit of gas and air at the end, but it all works together, I think. And yeah, I just knew my body was doing what it needed to do because I'd practiced, and we'd very much enhanced the techniques, haven't we? And yeah, practice, I think, is the word. We really committed to doing it, to practicing and carrying on with those techniques. So it wasn't just about doing it right at the end, you know, for the actual birth. For weeks before, we had been listening to Sharon's CDs and relaxation tapes.
Getting ready.
Getting ready, yeah. It was about preparing our minds as well, wasn't it? As well as our bodies, I think. You know, really focusing on that end product that we were going to produce. Again, I mean, within about 2 or 3 days, I was going out with him and having the confidence to go out with him by myself. And I mean, you went back to work after 2 weeks after the paternity leave, and it was about after a week, wasn't it? Yeah, it was about having that confidence again and knowing that you know, I was quite relaxed, and he was picking up on that relaxed state, I think. Which was good. I didn't panic about anything. I think it was very much, yeah, just see what comes.
Apart from little old ladies trying to grab him.
Oh yeah, yeah, the little old ladies going into the pram, going, "Hello, what's this? How old is he?" And like, no. Wow. But yeah, no, it was really good, a really good experience. I mean, you never know what to expect when you've had a baby, and even though you can prepare for having one and everything, you don't know exactly what you're going to get given. You don't know really what's going to happen, but every day was new, and something new would come up, and we'd be like, oh, what do we do now? But it was very much in a controlled way. We didn't panic about anything. So I would say you've got to give it a try. You have to give it a try. If you've got to have an open mind. You've got to really think, you've got to go sort of inquire about it, find out about it if you're not too sure about it. But I mean, we'd done a lot of work before, hadn't we, on relaxation things, so we had some understanding of what it was all about. But I think, just...
My background's in science, and as a scientist, it's like you look for the evidence and what's there out there. And after I looked at some of that stuff, it was an absolute no-brainer. It's just like, why would you not do it? And answer that question. And then the NHS don't give money away these days, but they are providing Sharon Mustard and Easibirthing free of charge. Yeah. That sort of one-off taster, because they obviously know the impact that it has.
I would so recommend it to anybody, and you know, even if somebody was preparing for a cesarean, I would say go do it anyway, because it, even the relaxation in that kind of state, even if your birth goes not to your plan. I've got friends that have done the Easibirthing, and it's you know, they've said if I hadn't have done it, I wouldn't have been that calm. And yeah, it didn't go to my way, but actually it really helped me through it. So because of all the relaxation stuff and the breathing and the positive thinking and all the things behind it. So yeah, I would totally recommend it to anybody. It's yeah. We've done because I suffered a lot of sickness. I did some work with Sharon beforehand. To relaxation things to support me physically and mentally with that, to cope with it, yes. And then I did, we did, obviously the Easibirthing course was, I think it was a few Saturdays, wasn't it? Felt like a few whole days, and then we're doing... Lots of practice, yeah. Lots of relaxation practice, and then we're going to do a refresher day in a few weeks' time for the new babies. She's so welcoming, and she puts you at ease. She very, very quickly picks up on your needs, and she's very precise and clear about where she thinks you ought to go, or she listens to you. She takes account of where you think you need to go with things, and very caring, very professional, very professional. Yeah.
And she's got a great accent.
Yeah. I've not come across anybody like her. She's one in a million. So, yeah.
I think Helen had such a traumatic pregnancy. To see her go into the birth process with real confidence was amazing. That was a real gift. And for me, I guess as the father, it's so easy to be on the sidelines and not involved and not know what your role is, and you know, sort of be a bit part. But we had some wonderful midwives, and they just let Helen and I get on with it. And so I felt very much part of the team, and so it was easy.
I wanted a water birth, didn't I? But
Yeah.
they filled the water up, and I didn't even get to the water because I didn't believe that I was so far gone in the labour.
Yeah, we had this junior nursing staff come in, and you could see she was just about to start panicking because she realised what was going on, and she was that close to me saying, "Leave the room now," because her panic wasn't going to be in that room. Because Helen was calm, I was calm, we knew what was happening. It was just like, now just go and get someone that can manage.
The senior midwife was fantastic. She came in the room and she said, "I think you're just about ready to give birth now. Should we just prepare everything?" And she was very calm, wasn't she? She got everything ready, and yeah, it's lovely.
She was one of the old and bold.
I think it is about that commitment though. If you decide to do it, you've got to commit to it. You can't do it half-heartedly. You've got to really...
without getting preachy, it's about taking responsibility for your process, and that sounds awfully technical, but it's practice, and learn the techniques, and just so that they're overlearned. It's not taking a pill, it's not a medication, it's something that you actively learn and all learning has to make a change in you so that you do something different. You think something different, and we understood that from our background, and what Sharon provided us with is tools to do that in this very specific case. And as I said, the evidence it's out there.
Shame men can't go through it, isn't it?
No, I'm okay with that one.